This man is spending $2 million a year to reverse aging. I tried his plan for 1 month, and the results will blow your mind.
How many supplements do you take every day?
Over 100.
Holy cats. So that's a lot of pills.
It's a lot of pills.
So, is youth something we can recapture? That's the plan, according to Brian Johnson. He's taken every research study and scientific paper he can find on anti-aging and used it to create Blueprint, a plan for how to eat, exercise, and take supplements that will help you actually age backwards.
We took on the entirety of all the scientific literature, systematically putting a protocol together with 30 doctors. My responsibility was maintaining perfect adherence to that protocol, 0 infractions. And that's what I think we've done, is just a proof of concept that we can meaningfully control our aging.
Why do this? Because as we learn more about how our bodies age, our idea of aging gets more and more complicated.
45 years ago, I left my mother's womb. My diaphragm is 18, my left ear is 64, my heart is 37. Biologically, I'm hundreds of different ages. I think we could be on the cusp of something more revolutionary than we can even comprehend.
So for the next month, I'm going to be trying Brian Johnson's Blueprint plan. I'm going to be eating the way he eats, taking all the same supplements, which is a lot of supplements, and I'm going to be exercising every day to see if I can actually reverse the clock on aging. Stick around to find out if we can reverse our aging. This is Brian. He wants to be young again, and he's like really, really serious about it.
Nice to meet you. I'm Nick. Thanks for taking the time to show us around today. Really appreciate it.
I'm glad you're here. Come on in.
Come on. Thanks.
Brian has undertaken a massive research project to see if he can get back to being 18. That sounds crazier than it really is.
We wanted to pose the question, is a fountain of youth here right now? It's just hiding in tens of thousands of scientific publications. So what you see here is basically the result of 2 years' effort. You likely think it's about health and wellness, but really is about something much bigger. And that's what I really want to try to communicate with Blueprint is, after 2 years of doing this, it's here, meaningfully here. What's coming could dramatically extend our lifespans. I don't think that we can fully comprehend the potential that's coming our way. And I think the job all of us have is stay alive.
Right.
Blueprint is Brian's open source project to create a system for self-care that essentially runs itself for the rest of your life. It's a complete overhaul of his diet, his fitness activities, and how he measures the impacts on his body.
What we do systematically is we measure every organ in my body. We look at all the scientific evidence. We implement the protocol, and then we do it again. Evidence, data, protocol.
Right.
Repeat. And so this diet in me has produced 50 perfect biomarkers. It's slowed my speed of aging by the equivalent of 31 years. My body now accumulates aging damage slower than the average 10-year-old.
For Brian, or anyone else who thinks about it for more than a few seconds, the idea that a single number defines our age is absurd. Our bodies are super complex, and the different components of this massively complex system don't all age in perfect synchronization. Your skin might age much differently than your organs, or your muscles, or your bones. Your brain might be aging faster than your immune system, or slower than your heart. And now, to a certain extent, we can measure how these different systems are breaking down over time. For each of these aspects of his age, Brian has taken on the latest techniques to measure and restore his optimal health. It starts with an intense workout every morning. Also, enough supplements to stock a GNC. And a strict diet that I got to sample.
So I'll wake up in the morning and I'll drink this Green Giant.
Okay.
And it has amino acids, spermidine in the form of chlorella powder, collagen peptides, cinnamon, creatine. Take 60 pills, I'll work out for an hour. A pro move would be for you to drink the whole thing. However, that comes with some risks. that you may find yourself in the restroom.
Okay.
And now,
Like immediately?
there's like some variance.
Okay.
Like, sometimes. Not a bad thing.
I'll eat anything at least once, so. It's really good.
It's really good.
Yeah. Kind of just like apple juice with a little bit of like a shot of wheatgrass at a cafe or something. But yeah, I don't hate this at all. This is quite good.
Yeah, it's very
if I'm
good.
being honest.
All right, so this one, you want to drizzle the olive oil, food, and then
I am a founding member of the Clean Plate Club. I just want to say.
I have to say, I'm impressed. You mean, that's courageous. That's pro right out of the gate.
I'm about to,
What I call super veggie, and it's broccoli, cauliflower, shiitake or maitake mushrooms, black lentils, hemp seeds, garlic, and ginger. Take your olive oil
okay.
and go ahead and drizzle it, and then this is an exciting thing is I add the 100% dark chocolate,
Okay.
and I pair it with the vegetables.
I hear that.
Yep. I've got it actually. Yeah.
Pair it with the vegetables. Okay.
Yep. So chocolate with vegetables is not something that many people do. However, it's bitter because it's 100% dark.
Right.
And so the bitterness paired with this and the olive oil, I find to be delicious. So why don't you try that?
All right, I'll try that. That's really interesting. I never would have thought to pair the chocolate with it.
Yeah.
And it does add a lot. Tell me about this dish.
So an hour later, this will be nutty pudding,
And you said macadamia nuts. What were the others?
walnuts,
Walnuts.
flaxseed,
Okay.
some pea protein, berries, and 2 ounces of freshly squeezed pomegranate juice.
That's really good. Now, you eat basically all of your meals before 8 a.m., is that correct?
I eat them before 11 a.m. or so. It's in a 6-hour window, so by noon every day, I'm finished eating.
Wow.
So then I fast for 18 hours.
How does that feel?
I love it. This is the thing. I love this protocol more than any other version of a previous life I've lived.
One other important aspect to this, beyond just how it affects our aging, is that Brian is trying to simplify the choices in his life so he doesn't need to invest energy in them anymore. Kind of like how Steve Jobs only wore black turtlenecks and jeans. If you can codify these healthy choices and make it a thought-free set of habits, that could set you up for a better life.
When I wake up in the morning, I walk through a process of going left to right. I'll start here, I'll grab this guy here, then this guy, and then so on. So I basically never have to remember anything. I just walk through a process and muscle memory takes over.
Right.
Before, I was committing these acts of self-destructive behavior, of violence, eating too much food, not sleeping properly, skipping exercise, that was causing decay and aging. We'll do this. I had to say, all right, organs, you're now in charge, and what do you need to be your best selves? But importantly, what I did say is my mind, it no longer has authority to make any decisions.
If you think this sounds like comic book stuff, you're not wrong, because it does require a superpower. Like Batman, Brian's superpower is that he's rich. He spends roughly $2 million a year on this project, and even has his own fully equipped medical clinic in his house.
So this is a high-frequency electromagnetic stimulation. It makes muscles contract.
Okay.
So if you want to sit here,
Okay.
if you have a cell phone, you'll want to take it out of your pocket.
All right.
We'll count down. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, okay. That's not bad. Okay. Yeah. I'd have to.
Of course, not everyone can afford their own medical clinic, and Brian isn't saying you should. He's trying the most extreme version of this so that others can take that information and build something that fits into their life.
I took it all the way to the outer edges, the frontier. And somebody, of course, can piece together what they can in their life, which is great. I wanted to give an example. If someone really wanted to go all in, what could they imagine they could achieve? And if you look at my data on what we've done, I mean, it's meaningfully changed my speed of aging and my biological processes.
So to see how easy it is for people to do this, at Hard Reset, we decided to take Brian's example and do our own version of the blueprint plan, based on the starter guide on his site, for 30 days. The only question is, will I survive it? We wanted to see what it was like to use Brian's plan. So Rob, Freethink's editor-in-chief, and I both adopted a simplified version of the blueprint plan for 30 days.
All right, today's your first day, right?
We were also allowed a third meal each day that we left open to interpretation, as long as it was 500 calories or less. Brian is vegan, but Rob and I are not, so we allowed ourselves to have meat 3 times a week, as long as it was 1 serving or less and accompanied by vegetables and no processed foods. We also didn't allow ourselves caffeine, alcohol, or THC. Then there was exercise. We did an hour of exercise every day, with roughly 10 minutes of each workout dedicated to high-intensity training. Rob did weight training, I mainly walked. I walked a lot, In fact, I walked over 100 miles over the course of the experiment. So what's it like to live on the Blueprint plan? Well, once you get used to taking massive amounts of supplements, that's not really something that impacts your day-to-day life. One weird side note, I noticed that the supplements had a substantial impact on my body odor. I think it was the iron supplements, because I noticed I had a metallic smell after working out. Also, more than once, I had coworkers tell me that my skin was glowing, which was super weird. The diet was mainly boring. There's nothing unpleasant about the food, it's just boring. Eating the same thing every day. With a little preparation, it's not too hard to pack all the ingredients you need to do Blueprint while you travel, but you will need to get used to the idea of watching your family eat food at restaurants that you can't. Just like at work, when all your colleagues can eat things you can't. Real question was, did it work? To find out, I took a few more measurements. Another DEXA scan, another VO2 max, a blood test, and another biological aging test. Let's look at the data. I definitely saw a steady decline in my weight. I lost about 20 pounds over the course of the 30 days, which was more than I expected. It was a clear win. My DEXA scan was another clear win. Looking at my body composition, you could see I hadn't just lost weight, but I'd lost fat where it mattered most.
Your visceral fat area is at about 165 right now. Your last scan was coming in at about 210.
Oh, wow.
So you've been able to drop that by, 40, 50 points.
Wow.
So I'd say you can't really do much better than that.
The VO2 max test was a miserable slog still, but I saw a clear improvement in my overall score, going from a 34.6 to a 36.8. My blood test results were also great. My cholesterol and triglycerides were dramatically lower than my previous blood test.
My triglycerides went from over 300 to just over 70, which is incredible. And my LDL, which is the bad cholesterol, has gone way down. It went down from 126 to 92.
So overall, I had lost weight and was in better shape. But had I really slowed or reversed my aging? For that, we looked at the results of the biological age test. And yes, it appears that Blueprint did work, in fact, much more effectively than I had expected. My biological age went from 36 to 33, and I saw improvements in almost every category. Although we couldn't afford another DEXA scan or VO2 max test for Rob, he saw dramatic improvements as well. He dropped 25 pounds in weight, lost 6 inches off his waist, and he saw a 40 to 70% improvement in his weightlifting performance. Now, we fully admit that there's a lot of debate around the accuracy of biological aging tests, but if you accept them as a reasonable measure of our body's overall age, then yes, we reversed aging by adopting Brian's Blueprint plan.
So, having seen these numbers, having seen this dramatic improvement in my health, it makes me reticent to go back to living my life the way I was before. It makes me feel like I probably need to at least keep most of the things from the Blueprint plan. I'm definitely going to make a few changes, but I'm probably going to make them very slowly and be very careful to watch how they impact my body and how my body performs.
Brian Johnson's Blueprint, there's a cadre of people that when they interface with this and they see it, they see the food that he eats and they think of it's a miserable way to live. I think when you just look at it from a macro level, it's not crazy. It's actually just pretty simple sound advice. Eat whole foods, take supplements, and exercise.
It's been several months since we filmed this experiment, and I've kept my regular, miserable exercise schedule. My diet isn't anything crazy, and I'm taking fewer supplements. I've kept the weight off, and I'm actually still losing a little bit of weight. My wife says I'm still 43, though.
Should you think of your health only when it's a problem? Maybe you should start thinking about it every day.
So what will it mean as we learn more about how to optimize our diet and our lifestyles to extend our lives? So picture a scenario where we had a good sense of what foods and activities would extend our healthy lifespans. You don't need to close your eyes to imagine that. Just look around you, because we already live in that world. Doctors have been telling people to eat better and exercise regularly for decades. And for just as long, we've been ignoring them. You can call that human nature.
This is a hard reset on how we understand being human, It's a genuine attempt at trying to say, given the circumstance, what is the most practical thing we could contemplate in doing that would increase our chance of shared survival?
So the future scenario here isn't a leap forward in technology, but in philosophy. For Brian, this all comes down to free will.
In the same way that an algorithm can get me to my destination more efficiently with a digital map, the technology is to a point now where it does all these primary functions for me, which goes to your question of what is my role of decision making? And I've chosen to opt in and say, I say yes to an algorithm that can give me near perfect health, dramatically slow my speed of aging.
What does the world look like when we make the best choices for ourselves? What does it mean for our health and our happiness when we're not making choices out of desperation or on impulse?
I no longer pantry graze. I don't order from a menu. I don't do a spontaneous pizza party. I don't do drinks with friends late night. I don't miss it. I don't want it. They make me feel awful. I think they're bad. And hopefully soon, society will shift and we'll see that it does not make any sense for us to be doing things that increase the risk of death and disease.